Welcome to Your Radiant Spirit, a space for the conversations and colors that help you see yourself more clearly. I'm Heather Eck, an intuitive artist and guide, and I believe your soul speaks in the ways the mind can't always put into words, through color, energy, and the stories your body holds. This show is where we explore those messages. Through personal stories, deep conversations, and creative insight, we'll uncover what's been hidden, release what no longer serves, and begin to imagine what's possible when you live in full alignment with who you're meant to be. What you hear here is more than inspiration, it's an opening, a chance to feel the shift that could change everything. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and let's step into today's conversation. Welcome back to Your Radiant Spirit. I am so excited to spend every Wednesday morning with you in these episodes designed to help you tune into your radiant energy and your radiant spirit. And I love to bring on guests who are out there doing work to help other people do the same. And this week is really special because I met this wonderful human named Alethea Felton. And what's really cool is that Alethea invited me to be on her show, the Power Transformation podcast. And then I invited her to be on my show. And so today you get to hear me interviewing her. But if you tune into her episode, you'll get to hear her interviewing me. So let me tell you a little bit about Alethea. You're going to love her. She built a 20-year career in education where she taught students, led educators, and inspired meaningful change for people. But behind the scenes, she was dealing with some pretty significant challenges. As a child, she had a severe stutter. She had a serious autoimmune illness. And she also underwent a significant amount of loss of her loved ones and friends. So for Alethea, her breaking point really became her becoming point. She realized she was not made simply to endure, she was made to transform. And now she uses her lived experience to help other leaders and professionals who feel successful on the outside, but are feeling out of alignment on the inside. She offers speaking, one-on-one transformational consulting, and community through her communities, the Resilient Leaders Alliance, and she empowers others to lead from wholeness, resilience, and truth. She's a really wonderful human. You're going to love her energy. And stick around towards the end of the episode. You'll actually hear me give Alethea her spirit portrait reading, just a short little session where I share the colors that I saw for her and what they mean. I can't wait for you to hear her story. So lean back, relax, and dive into this week's episode. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm excited to see you again.
I am so glad to be here with you, Heather. It seems like we have known each other for years. Literally, we just get to talking and it just goes
I know.
on.
I love it. The first time I met you, I was like, yes, there's something here. I feel like we've known each other forever. And you just had me on your wonderful podcast. And I was like, oh, we got to flip the mic. I want you to be on mine.
Yes, indeed. And I'm excited about yours. I love the title of your podcast. It's really
Thank
great.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love the title of yours, the Power Transformation podcast, right?
Thank you. Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah.
So I think when you have a show that's called the Power Transformation show, podcast, that
Mhm.
means that you yourself have had some kind of powerful transformation, right?
Indeed. Indeed, I have. That is a true understatement. But yeah.
Well, should we start there? I'd love to hear more about your story and what has led you
Ooh.
on the path of the work that you do now.
Wow, so much has happened in my life, ever since I was a kid all the way up until now. But a big part of my journey is the fact that what makes me stand out differently is I was born diagnosed with autoimmune illness, which is rare to be born that way.
Mhm.
Nothing that my parents did or caused, but that's just life. Sometimes those are the cards that are dealt. So I was born with a very defective gastrointestinal system and a defective liver. So I was born severely jaundiced. And also, as time went on, I was diagnosed with Crohn's
Mm,
disease, which actually happens to some of the males on my mom's side of the family. And the liver condition is a very rare condition called primary sclerosing cholangitis, which is the gradual hardening of the bile ducts, which can lead to end stage liver failure and all of that. So I technically have some cirrhosis of the liver that I've had for many, many years, but I'm
Mhm.
thriving, Heather, and that is what baffles so many doctors. I haven't been hospitalized in approximately 6 going on 7 years, but there were times in my adult life, especially in my 20s and 30s, where I was in critical care,
Mm,
almost went to hospice in 2012, you name it, but yet I still lived a very abundant life. So the power transformation is literally that title comes from the fact that all of us have the power within ourselves to transform our lives and the world around us, regardless of what we experience. It might not be
mhm.
health for you, but every human being has a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. We come into the world with them. I think and you did too. Like as a baby, you came
Yeah.
in immediately challenged by that. But I always think about like the quote wounds that we come in with, they're almost
Mhm,
always associated with our sense of identity. You have a wound in your
mhm.
solar plexus about who you are, what you're here to
Yes.
do, and who you belong with,
Yes.
or in your root, which is all about am I gonna survive this? Does the family that brought me here care about me? Are they am I gonna be able to live in this life? So you came in really from both. You came in with both.
I
Um,
did. And to I wasn't gonna bring this part up, but you're a mom, Heather. I'm just a cat mom, but this is
Still a
a
mom.
funny story. Yeah, but this is a funny and I'm a god mom, but that's a whole different story. But funny story about the fact how I came into the world. I don't think I've ever shared this story publicly, but one thing that my mom says, the first sign that they knew outside of the jaundice that something medically could have been wrong with me is the very second I was born and the doctor plopped me on her chest. She said, boom, the biggest bowel movement came out of me right there on one head. This much stuff come out of a baby. I say, Mom, stop telling that story. It's all lies. And she said, I was there. I said, but Mom, if I allegedly did it, then I would remember it. So that's how I keep it.
You came in and you were like, "I got stuff to release."
Oh, I did.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
So what were you like as a kid? Because you and I talked, you said you were really curious, like always asking questions.
Girl, yes. First of all, I was a tomboy. And if people see me now, they wouldn't believe that I was a tomboy. But Heather, I have to admit, on days that I don't have a thing to really do, I am one of those yoga pants, t-shirts kind of a person, casual dress. But I was a tomboy. And for people who might be listening elsewhere and aren't exactly sure what that is, I'm from the South, Southeastern Virginia. And a tomboy is a girl who is a girl in every sense of the word, but loves boy stuff. So loves the outdoors, loves to climb the trees. And I grew up in the 80s and 90s. So just think that whole stereotypical riding the bikes, staying out late at night,
Mhm.
watching the sunsets. That's how I was. So as a tomboy, and I like being a tomboy because I got to play with other boys in the neighborhood. I kind of had a crush on stuff like that. But
Yep.
I was adventurous. I always liked nature. I was a type of kid where if went exploring, I mean, think the Goonies and all of
Yeah.
those types of movies. I was an explorer. I had a wild imagination and I was a questioner. So my father was a psychiatric counselor and pastor, but I didn't grow up in a traditional preacher's kid household. He and my mom welcomed questions. They welcomed us to ask anything. So daddy had and has the patience of Job, where I could say, Daddy, why is the sky blue? And he would respond. And I say, yeah, but why? But what is the reason? And I would purposely do that. So I was inquisitive, I was curious, but something else about me, I stuttered severely.
Mm.
I stuttered severely. I still do stutter. It's not severe, but in my personal life, girl, sometimes I get caught on a word if I'm talking to my friends or my family,
Yeah.
but I stuttered. And that was a pain point in my life because there came a time when I remember literally as a little girl, I would pray that God would take away my voice so I wouldn't
Mm.
stutter. My daddy happened to overhear me one night. I was literally praying it out loud and he heard me. And I was a little girl. I was probably about 6 or 7 then. And he told me, he said, "Don't ever pray that. Don't ever pray that your voice is taken away." And daddy reminded me that my voice is powerful.
Mhm.
And I took speech therapy, and my mother had a speech pathology background. And she decided to put me in theater, theater and voice lessons because it would help me with breath control, breath work, timing, pacing, all outside of the speech therapy. And so, what was a crutch and a vice has become a superpower. Where my entire life, Heather, whether it was on stage for many years growing up, or in my career, or now what I do,
Mhm.
speaking has been powerful. And I say that because I encourage people, regardless of who you are and where you are in life, your voice has power. You have a
Mhm.
story to share. And avoid talking yourself out of it and avoid letting anyone tell you what you cannot do if you have something powerful to share. So that's how I was as a kid, very curious, inquisitive, kid who just enjoyed life. And I didn't realize I was quote unquote sick because my parents created a space for me to have normalcy. And so I
Mhm.
still did typical kid things, even if I had the aches and the pains and had to rest at times and didn't always feel good. I didn't know what was going on because they wanted to ensure that I never allowed a label to stop me from being who God created me to be.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's powerful. Thank you for sharing that too. You're making me think, when I was little, I had a lisp.
Oh.
And so it wasn't a stutter, but I would like my S's. And so I still do sometimes, but growing up, I would have a hard time using my voice for things. And I would often get strep throat as a kid. And I think it was because I wasn't speaking up about things. I didn't think my voice was powerful. And so I did speech therapy for a number of years. And my parents would always say things like, "Oh, you're so shy," or "You're so quiet," or what have you. And now years later, using my voice is not something I ever thought I would be doing. I think because of the same reasons I felt very self-conscious about it, and it was something that I felt was holding me back. But you and I both share the theater background too.
Oh, I didn't know that,
Mm.
Heather. Oh
Uh,
my gosh.
yeah, in high school, I
Oh,
tried.
this is amazing. You all, please know Heather and I have had a few conversations, and I'm so shocked because we find ourselves learning something about us that is so similar. This is
Yeah.
wild.
And we're both 1980 babies, right? We're both 80s kids?
I'm I'm 81, but
81, okay.
80, uh-huh,
I
but
got you by a
still,
year,
yes. Yeah. Yeah.
but we grew up in that time where we were outside playing all day. We were under the streetlights. You'd come home when the streetlights came on,
That's
like
right. Yeah.
but I was, but I love that you went into or you were able to do theater and things to help draw out your confidence and to help you learn, and that was something that I did as well because I would try sports and I was real bad at it. I was real bad at it, but it wasn't until I got to theater and choir and chorus and all of those things that I
Yeah.
felt like, "Oh, I'm finding myself and I'm finding my people." And it gives you community and it gives you confidence and it gives you, just, I think, encouragement to start to put yourself out there. in the world. Um, I love that. I love that we share that so much. When
It
you
certainly does, and I was even drama club president my senior year of high school,
of
drama
course,
club
right?
president, and, it's because I don't bring up that aspect a lot. I was intending to be a Broadway star. I mean, that's what I wanted to do was Broadway, and overnight, my plans literally changed. I My senior year of high school, I was one of the few selected to audition as a high schooler for Juilliard, and they accepted my tape and everything. I went to Juilliard, but this is no kidding, and this is why we have to pay attention to the signs in our life. The morning of my audition, you can ask anybody that I know intimately from that time. The morning of my audition, Heather, I was hoarse. I was hoarse, had never been hoarse a day in my life. I still went to the audition knowing I wasn't going to go in, went in there, the panel heard me, they knew I was hoarse. I did my monologue, walked out of there knowing that they weren't going to accept me, but I went anyway. And a couple of the people that were students at the time, I still keep in touch with them. And I won't, of course, share them, but they are big names now. But it was just the fact that then they were students there and were so encouraging to me knowing this girl is hoarse, and I can only imagine what I probably wouldn't be talking to you now if I
Yeah.
had 'cause I am pretty sure that I would have made it in, but I was hoarse. Yeah.
Oh, that just gave me head to toe chills.
Uh-huh. Yes, I
So,
was.
what happened? Because I mean, God had a
So
different plan for you, so
So this is what I think happened, but it can't be necessarily proven. My audition was in January. My mom's mom had passed away, so we had to go to Jersey for her funeral. I was still planning to go to New York anyway, even prior to my grandma passing. I was staying in Mount Vernon, New York, with one of my grandma's sisters. And when my grandma passed away, we traveled up there as a family. And then I left with my great aunt Ruth. So, what I think happened, my mother's sister, as well as some other people on my mom's side back then, were heavy smokers. And so, after the service for my grandma, we went back to one of my aunt's houses and I think it could have been maybe the smoke, but maybe not because I spent my childhood summers with my mom's people who smoked and I never lost my voice. So the only thing that my mom thinks could have happened was maybe some of the cigarette smoke could have
mhm.
affected my vocal cords. Although I, of course, didn't smoke, maybe that happened. But then, Heather, I'm a woman of faith, as you know. The older I get, I think that it was divine intervention where it was not intended to happen.
Yeah.
That's what I think happened because if you think about it, a lot of my Crohn's flare ups and a lot of the battles with the health journey really didn't pop off until my 20s and 30s. And if I had gone and tried to audition on Broadway and actor, I could have lost certain roles based on my health. So it's really a mystery to this day. It wasn't fear, it wasn't anything like that, but I literally woke up the morning of my audition hoarse. I don't even tell
Wow.
that story. I have so many stories that you're bringing out of me that I don't even think about anymore.
Well, that's so
Yeah.
interesting. So that door to Juilliard got closed that
Mhm.
morning.
And I know I would have made it. I know I would have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what did you do after that? Like, what that door got closed, I'm sure you were
Fell
like,
into a little depression. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie about that.
yeah.
I'm not gonna act like, "Oh, that." I lost so much of my confidence. I had one more audition after that at, North Carolina School of the Arts, actually. They were excited about me, and I know I didn't do my best at that audition because that was after the Juilliard one, and, um, it was a long shot even as a high schooler, as I said, even sending in a tape for Juilliard because Juilliard's theater program typically accepted then, I don't know how it is now, but in the 90s, they typically accepted people who had already had undergraduate degrees from a university.
Mhm.
So me being a high schooler and them picking my audition tape, that was rare as a high school kid going straight from high school into Juilliard's theater program. And so that's why it was such a downer for me. I went into depression. I was really sad, but I was still in school acting. And I remember at the time, my high school was so close knit. It was still pretty large, but everybody knew I was gonna try out at Juilliard. And to have to come back home and say I was hoarse the morning of my audition. And this is the other weird factor. I'm telling you the truth. Audience, listen to this. The next day, my voice was back to normal. Mm.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. I can't
Oh, that just gave
explain.
me chills.
I wasn't, and maybe people say, well, maybe you had subconscious fear or anything. No, I was so confident. Of course, you have your jitters, but I was
Mhm.
so excited. I wasn't scared. That's what
That's
you're saying.
wild.
Isn't that wild? Oh, girl, I haven't told that story in a long time.
That's so interesting. It's so funny because this morning my son was asking me, um, I forget what he said. He was like, "Did you know when you were younger that you always wanted to be an artist?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I think so because I was very creative. Like I loved to draw and paint and I loved chorus and theater so I
Mhm.
felt like something creative was where I would go, but I ended up not going down that path for a while." And I said, "And honestly, after I graduated from college, I was interviewing for jobs that I said, if I don't get these jobs, I'll just go to massage school." And I was gonna become a massage therapist, and I was thinking about, like, how life sort of takes you on this journey where a single decision or a single moment can then redirect your
Mhm.
whole path forward. So after that, you went into teaching for a while, right? Is that
Girl, let me tell you about that briefly. And audience, I will tell you this interview is definitely going in a direction Heather and I didn't even think, but it's so beautiful to me. So, this is what happened. I really didn't know what I wanted to do after that because I lived and breathed theater. And I decided, and this was my senior year of high school. I didn't have a backup plan. I didn't apply for your standard schools. These were all artsy schools, you know? And so a lot of the college application times were done. I was an honors student in school, but I was a bad standardized test taker.
Mhm.
So even with the SATs, I scored low on
Same.
SAT. I really did. I
I
mean,
did
I
too.
scored really low. So I didn't even have a cut score for the standard SAT, but what helped me were my grades, my transcripts, and my recommendations. So I remember it was a few months prior to graduation, and my mom straight up said, "Okay, what are you gonna do?" And I said, "I don't know." I was still kind of sad and down. She said, "Well, you've got to do something. So I'm gonna give you your options." She said, "Option one, you can work full time, but you'll have to move out the house." She did that now that I look back on it because she knew I wouldn't have done that. She said, "Option 2, you can go to college locally. You don't have to live on campus if you don't want to. You can stay here." Or she said, "3, if you want, you can try to join the military." So I was like, "Huh." So I said, "You know what? Joining the army might not be too bad." I said, "Maybe I can go later on, go back to school and get my GI Bill." The recruiter came to the house and everything, girl, and we got through the questionnaire. He was so excited, and then the question about health came. All of the other things were okay, but there was one disqualifier: asthma. I had had asthma since I was a kid, and back then, asthma disqualified you because during boot camp, the one of the last tests is the gas chamber, where you have to go in with it and without it. and they couldn't take that risk. And he looked so disappointed, like, oh my gosh, this is a kid that actually wants to go into it. So I was going to go into the army. I don't tell people that either. So that didn't work out. So I applied to Old Dominion University in Norfolk. And although I didn't have the SAT scores, I had very great grades on my transcripts, A's, B's, sometimes straight A's, and I was accepted. So I always liked writing. I always liked languages. So I became an English major with an emphasis in professional and technical writing. So I could learn how to write technical documents. I could learn how to do some basic web design and graphics and things like that, and speech writing, grant writing, everything with professional writing and digital stuff. And I minored in Spanish. And college was a wonderful experience for me. I even lived abroad in Guadalajara, Mexico for a semester. And when I was about to graduate, I started applying for different corporate jobs. My mom said, I don't see you stuck in an office. That's just not you. She said, why don't you, as a backup plan, get your teacher's certification. You can teach a couple of years until you really find, oh, mom, I'm never going to teach. I don't want to teach. I hate teach. I'm not going to do that. But my senior year, I only had classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays were free. Substitute teachers back then, especially with a college kid, got paid
Mhm.
great. So I applied to be a substitute teacher, and teachers liked me so much of how I handled the class, and I substituted high school, and they liked how I ordered the class and everything. By the time I graduated, Heather, none of the corporate jobs were coming through. So I got hired as a high school English teacher. And I said, okay, I'm going to give myself 5 years max. 5 years, girl, turned into a 20-year career as a teacher, a school leader, and ended my career in human resources, and I loved every bit of my career.
Oh my gosh. Okay, did we
Yeah.
talk about the human resources thing that we both have experience in
Not
HR?
well, yes, I said I did more of the learning and
That's
development
right. That's
aspects
right.
of it, yeah, uh-huh, but yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
So
I
it's the and behind the scenes, I was still doing entrepreneurial ventures. So in my
Mhm.
20s, I had a catering company. Then in my 30s, I became a certified health coach and life coach. And now I do resiliency and helping leaders with breakthroughs. So I create digital products for entrepreneurs. That is evolving even more. So I took that freelance side hustle and have brought it to the main point of my business just within the last few months. And stay tuned, entrepreneurs, because I'm pivoting into a space that's even greater, that's going to be of greater value specifically for entrepreneurs. And I also do speaking on stages virtually as well as in person, have the podcast, and I lead a community called Resilient Leaders Alliance. And that's who I am now. I've been in the full time entrepreneur space now for 2.5 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you retire from teaching and then
I
pivot? Or
did,
okay.
uh-huh. I I did, and I didn't intend to. I was gonna do my 30, 35 years because I literally started teaching, so I'm an August baby, so I literally started teaching at 21, about to be 22, and so I loved my career. I didn't plan on it, but I'm very keen to what Holy Spirit tells me,
Mhm.
whether you call it God, Holy Spirit, intuition, I call it God or Holy Spirit. And
Mhm.
about a year and a half prior, spoke so clearly to me that it was time for me to prepare to shift out of education into full-time entrepreneurship. Girl, I worked in Maryland. And let me tell you, DC, Maryland, all of that, they pay very well in that education space,
Mhm.
especially the higher up you get. So here I was making a very nice six-figure salary, the best benefits in the world, everything. I ignored God for about 2 weeks and I couldn't sleep. I was tossing and turning in the night until I surrendered and said, okay. And I planned for a year and a half on how to go about doing it. I did everything that the experts said to do, about have this much money. I surpassed all that. I was comfortable. But in full-time entrepreneurship, it's unpredictable.
Mhm.
And every entrepreneur on a full-time journey, no matter how well prepared you are, it comes a point where you enter a pinch season, you
Mhm.
enter a tight zone, you enter a, "Oh God, what in the world?" And you walk on water, but you keep
Yeah.
going. And that is what this resiliency space has done. And the way I got here was in the pandemic. A lot of entrepreneurs went heavy hitting on businesses. Like, yeah, I'm going to build this. And some got into the space, which is great. I took a pause. I felt myself evolving more. And I took a pause from it. And my health coaching clients at the time couldn't continue paying me because things were so unpredictable. And so I had no choice but to just release and regroup. And that was during that time, Heather, God spoke to me about shifting and moving and all of that. And I have done that. So 2.5 years later, I am seeing people's lives transformed.
Mm.
Um, I am seeing things that have been absolutely miraculous in my own life. Things aren't always easy by no means, but I see the vision and I'm still newer in the full-time space. It's one thing doing it 20 years, having your full-time 9 to 5, right?
Mhm. Yep.
But it's another really walking on that water and having to do what you must do. But the joy and the blessing of it is, and Lord knows I don't say this to brag, but the support system I have, where I'm not having to pay rent or mortgage right now to anybody. That's how much my family believes in me. I still have my own bills, of course, but
Yeah.
the whole point is I have such a peace about me because things are happening and a lot of the vision now is starting to come to fruition. And if we talk another year from now, you'll even see the growth. It's so interesting how, with me helping people achieve their next level of breakthrough, whether in their personal life, their business, or their career, it's interesting how we ourselves can get tested and tried in those
Mhm.
very areas that we are helping others with.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful space to actually be in, and I'm grateful for it.
Oh my gosh, I love that. You said so much that I wanna go back and ask about. One,
Mhm.
I love that you brought up hearing God speak to you through Holy Spirit or even just know, like, the knowing that you have that you've
Mhm.
gotta make some kinda change, but also, um, saying I ignored God for 2 weeks.
I sure did. I
Uh,
did. I was like, "This is crazy." Like, no, no. And I could not get a good night's sleep. I really couldn't. It was
I
like
believe it.
tossing and turning.
Mhm.
And if there's a listener who thinks all this is hocus pocus, you can think what you want. I know what I know. I literally, but I've had some very supernatural moments in my life, and I know clearly when that voice is speaking to me. And I said, I'm not giving up any of this. But look, this is another wow moment. Not only did he say, leave education, but he told me to come back home and regroup.
Mm.
It makes sense. Like, why am I going to leave that area and come back home?
Yeah.
What do you mean? He said, come back home, regroup, come back home, regroup. I said, okay. So I obeyed. Even when I moved up to Washington, DC years ago, that was an obedience moment. And so now coming back here in Hampton Roads Tidewater was a true obedience moment. I came back home. I had only planned to live with my parents maybe 3 to 6 months. I had enough where I could get another house or apartment or whatnot. And something kept happening each time that would delay me. About 3 or 4 months, Heather, and with me coming back home, my dad gets diagnosed with cancer. And fast forward now to where we are now, he's diagnosed with dementia. It's
Mm,
not, Alzheimer's. He still knows who we are. He's very forgetful and your classic patient. He swears up and down he doesn't have it, which is okay.
mhm.
And now, unfortunately, he has stage 4 cancer now.
Mm,
So he
so
had
sorry.
surgeries, things like that.
Mhm,
My mom is, still here too. They've been married 48 years. She had some osteoarthritis issues going on, then she had hip surgery. She can drive again, she's back at working out again. But I share that is because when I came back home, I also became a caregiver. And that was such and I look back on things now, Heather, it's so like, wow.
mm,
If I had still had the career that I had that was so demanding, so intense. I have a sister also who's older, but there is no way that my parents would be able to have had the support,
mhm,
the care, the attention. So, yes, I have my own company and business, but I'm also a caregiver and I'm able to do what I need to do as we navigate through this journey. And my
mhm.
father, the same one who told me, don't let anybody stifle my voice, he is so unfazed and so unbothered by these diagnoses because he too has his own incredible journey. And he knows the reality of the cancer situation, but he also knows who his source is.
Mhm.
And he also knows that this earth is temporal and that we are
Right.
spiritual beings living a physical existence. So he doesn't really care that he has it because we all got to go out somehow. We don't know when, we don't know how. And he and I both through our own health journeys in our lives have seen people who were the epitome of health who have already transitioned.
Yeah.
We don't know the time nor the hour. It's with it's what we do with the time we have. How are we helping others? How are we serving? How are we making the world around us better?
Yep.
That's what it's about. That
Yeah.
is what life is really about. And yes, you take care of you. You know how to set healthy boundaries and say no when you have to. But when all is said and done, I want to be able to, whether it's a year from now or 50 years from now, Heather, I want to die empty, meaning
Mm,
I want to be poured out. I want to be poured out. I don't want anything that I'm supposed to give left in me. I build towards even greater wealth because I'm just not someone who is walking in my wealth, but I am a philanthropist. I'm one who is giving back more. See, when we take these titles and we take X, Y, and Z, I don't want to be someone who just has these medical conditions. I'm a thriver.
mhm.
And I can show you that regardless of where you are in life, I don't wanna be someone that just is telling entrepreneurs, "Oh, yeah, I can create this workflow." No, I wanna help you get back your time so that you can enjoy equality. I'm just not speaking on stages to be seen. I'm speaking on stages to say, "This is a person
Mhm.
who struggled with speaking, who prayed to not have a voice." And to let you know that you have something in common with me where you too have a story to share, no matter how tiny it may seem.
Yeah.
Because so many people walk around wearing what I call a clown face, smiling on the outside and breaking inside.
Mhm.
And if they can just have one glimmer of hope through someone else. Don't look at the external. Don't look at what the, race of the person is or the gender of the person, anything like that. Listen to the soul and the heart of the person. And that is what makes the difference. That's how I am who I am because people poured into me. And just think of what a difference this world would be, regardless of age. There are people in their 70s and 80s that I know who think that their lives haven't been worth anything. Yes, it has. As
Mhm.
long as you still have breath, you have meaning.
Mm.
And that's what I want people to really understand. It doesn't matter the avenue, but it's all about how you change how you view yourself. Nobody's a mistake. Maybe you were unplanned, but you're not a mistake.
Right. Right.
And that's really who I am and what I'm all about. We all go through something. We all go life ain't easy. It's just not. Let's
Yep.
just be totally honest. But there are great times in it. It can be wonderful, but life can be downright rotten sometimes. But it's
Yep.
all in how we handle how we are given certain things in life.
Mm. I love that so much. Thank you for sharing all of that. I feel like that's your testimony,
Mm,
that's your experience through anything that you go through, the ups and downs. You're still blessing God, you're still praising God, you're still here.
mm,
You're
mm.
so resilient.
Thank you.
And I love that you are out there showing people that their time's not up. If you're still here,
Oh,
there's still opportunity. There's still potential. There's still something for you to offer and
yeah.
to give. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you. Where can people find you? Where can they work with you? I want to
Oh, thank
all
you.
the things.
Yes, so I'm on all social well, I won't say all. I'm on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn mainly. Alethea Felton, Alethea. Oftentimes people will skip over that first E. It's Alethea, not Althea. Then I have a website, www.aletheafelton.com, that I'm in the process of updating because I'm revamping my main offer, and that's where you can find me. I do create digital products for entrepreneurs. That's being revamped as we speak. I create individual products now, everything from marketing funnels to ebooks, workbooks, etc. But I'm enhancing that. So stay tuned for that. It's gonna be far more than just that. And as I said, I have a community resilient leaders alliance that I have all 20 of my founding members, and now we are going to take it to a next level, even with that. And of course, if you would like me to speak or have speaking engagements or podcast appearances, you may also email me at coach@aletheafelton.com. And I check my spam because I notice a lot of people's at times, especially if you have a company, it will go into spam and I gotta weed it out. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's how you can find me. But follow me on social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook.
Awesome. And I don't want to forget to mention your wonderful podcast.
Oh yes. Girl, look, see, I need to get better at that. The Power Transformation Podcast is on all audio platforms. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, literally all audio podcasts. I technically have a YouTube page. Don't go there. It's not really done yet well. So that's why it's audio only. I was am totally ambitious with the video. I was gonna hire somebody for it that ended up falling through. So right now it's audio only, the Power Transformation Podcast, and it's a top 3% ranked show globally that was done organically, and I'm really excited about it. New episodes drop every Wednesday, but I can tell you the one for this Wednesday didn't drop yet, but it's gonna drop today. So and today is Thursday when we are recording this. But yes, I have been consistent since I started with having episodes every week. And Heather is one of my upcoming guests very soon. So yeah,
I love it. We should time it so that our episodes come out at the same
that would
time.
yes, we definitely can. Yeah.
I love it. And how long
Thank
have you been doing the show?
I started the show December 7th, 2022, so almost 3 years, almost 3
Wow.
years, December 7th. That date is significant because that was the birthday of my late godmom, Sandra, who was definitely a shero in my life. She lived with cerebral palsy her whole life. And unfortunately, she beat every odd in her life, but she passed away at 78.
Mm.
She lived in an assisted living facility, and during the pandemic, one of the workers there didn't know that they had the virus, and she contracted it from one of the healthcare workers,
Oh.
and she passed away. That was very difficult for me
Oh,
to
yeah.
talk about because she had she was an overcomer, and to know that that's how her life ended was, not pleasant and just downright unfair.
Yeah.
But I have faith, and one thing that she told me, Heather, was one of the last FaceTime conversations we had. A nurse held the phone to her, and I won't share specifics, but she spoke such life into me when she knew
Oh.
she was exiting, and we had one of the most powerful talks as she was transitioning out of the earth. And that's also been a pattern, which could be a totally different episode in 2017 and 2019.
Mhm.
Two of my best friends in the world both passed away of cancer. They were young women, but I had the honor of being with them, one when she passed away and the other a few hours prior to. And even as they were leaving this earth, they spoke such life into me. So, along with my health journey, I can definitely say Shadari, Nikisha, and my godmom, Sandra. Without them, I wouldn't be who I am today also.
Oh, that's such a blessing too.
Mhm.
I
It's
love
really,
that.
really beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I'm
Thank
sorry
thank
for your losses. I know that that
thank
is
you.
so hard, but thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Especially even in their moments of transition, they were able to offer you blessings as they
They
departed
sure
too.
did. Yes.
Oh, and something that
Thank
you'll never forget
you.
either. And I
Never.
don't want to forget to share with you your spirit portrait.
Oh, yes. I remember now. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, thank you. So, the way that I see color around people is sort of in 2 ways. One, I see your aura energy, which today is green. So you are
Oh,
emanating heart energy and love and just self-love and acceptance and all the things. But when I did your spirit portrait, I tune into the color that's gonna be the most supportive for you
okay.
and, the color that will help you through the next phase of whatever it is that you're going through. And you have this beautiful, vibrant, purpley plum color.
Interesting.
What do you see when you look at this?
Huh. I see Okay, I see clouds.
Mhm,
That's what I see. It doesn't but audience, I want you to know they don't exactly look like clouds, but that's how I interpret it.
mhm.
Clouds, elevation, going higher,
Yep.
being surrounded. That purpley color, this is the truth. I'm not trying to make this weird. I
Mhm.
had a dream about Keisha, my best friend who passed in 2019. I'm I'm not sure if it was a dream or partial reality, but she appeared to me in a dream, and the color shirt she had on was that color.
Was this color?
Yeah, so serious. Yeah.
Wow.
Uh-huh. So
Yeah.
I feel very supported and comforted.
Mhm.
It's also almost like empowering.
Yep.
Yeah. I
So
don't
I
know
don't know
what
if you can see this
interpretation is correct.
here, this symbol here is a hand. Do you see
Oh my
that?
gosh, I do now.
So
Yeah.
that's about being held and being supported.
Oh, no. Are you
Yeah.
serious?
Mhm. Yep. And so this color is both a mix of purple and pink. So that's about your connection to God and the higher heart, which is the higher love, higher consciousness. And so I think your work, your message is going to take on a higher level, like a higher purpose for guiding people back to their connections with God or spirit or the universe. I think your work is going to start to lift up. in that way, but it helps to, you're like, your work and your voice is being held. Do you see the blue in there?
No, I can't really see it. Look, okay, now I do.
And there's blue up here,
Blue is my favorite color
and
out
blue
of
is about
everything.
your throat.
Really?
So there's this soft blue that's kind of coming through. So there's like new words, new messages. There's something that's coming through. It starts at your crown. So that's, you know, Holy Spirit offering you something new. So if you're getting intuition or feelings or like something new to share, it's starting to come through that energy of your crown.
And just as of yesterday, I met with someone to help tailor a new offer.
Ah, oh, I just got chills.
Yeah.
I'm so-
Uh-huh. Girl. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah. Think of it in terms of like higher,
Of
elevating.
course. Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Hmm.
Definitely will.
Yeah. Ah, you are so beautiful. You have such a beautiful energy.
Thank you.
And you're such a wonderful human. And I'm so glad that I know you now,
Me
that we're
too.
in our one another's orbit. So
Indeed. Indeed, Heather. The feeling is mutual. Really exciting. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you so much for being here today and for listening with such an open heart. I really hope you enjoyed today's conversation. And if it sparked something in you, I'd love to invite you into a deeper experience with me. You can join me for free on Tuesday, December 2nd at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for this month's Color Healing Academy workshop. We're going to explore the energy of color, how it speaks to us, and how we can use it to reconnect with ourselves in a really grounded and supportive way. Everyone who comes live will be entered to win a spirit portrait session with me, which is a beautiful chance to receive an intuitive painting and a message just for you. If you're craving more clarity or you want to talk about what's shifting for you right now, you can also book a free insight session with me, and this is a gentle, judgment free space to explore what it is that you might need next. If you love these conversations, you can always jump over onto my newsletter list. I always share some fun insights over there. But I'd love to see you over at the workshop. I'll drop the link in the show notes, and I can't wait to connect with you soon. Thanks again for being here, my friends. Take care. Thank you for joining me today on Your Radiant Spirit. Every conversation here is an invitation to go beyond the surface, to listen to what your soul has been whispering, and to step into the life you've been longing for. If you're ready to go deeper, to work in a way that's personal, creative, and profoundly transformative, you'll find ways to connect with me in the show notes. Whether it's through art, a guided session, or a fully immersive journey, you'll discover a space where your truth is seen and your next chapter begins. If this episode spoke to you, it would mean the world if you shared it with a friend, left a review, or subscribed so more people can discover the conversations we have here. Until next time, my friend, keep noticing the colors, the moments, and the nudges. They're all leading you home. And for now, take a breath, hold on to what resonated, and carry it with you into the rest of your day. Thanks for listening.